There we go. Put it back on. Hi! We are back after a 2-week break, and we are picking off right where we left last time. We made joining us yet, but I'll go ahead and get rolling. Okay, last week we made a VFX version of a vine climbing a wall, and we are using version 9, which is in beta right now, so there's still little bugs here and there, but it's looking good for the most part. We're going to take the same model this week, and we are going to make a games version of it, which not a lot of you guys will be doing this from the cinema to the games workflow, but it is helpful. Just to kind of approach it that way. Plus, if you've already made the larger one, all of your files are already in here and everything is kind of ready to go. The first thing that I've done is I've renamed my wall so that I can have a new file for the games. And we are going to be checking. There we go. The first thing we're going to want to do for a games file is the difference between games and cinema in general are the cinema are going to be in the million poly range, and we need to bring this down to about 50K for hero or way lower if possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all of these detail branches and really optimize these, and we're going to be making our game. Hello everyone. Let's just see who we hadn't even been in chat today. Come on, checking over there. Another thing I'm going to do this week is show you not just the wall, but also if you want to grow on another item as well, how easy it is to switch in and out stuff. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to get rid of the wall on this file, and we're going to create a cluster file. So before I do anything, I'm just going to do a new save as, and we are going to name this one the cluster file, which I've already got one started, but save over it just for the sake of it. And we're going to delete the wall really fast, and you're going to watch everything disappear, and you're going to be like, where's my model? And it's going to yell at you. These little tell me that I deleted the wall and all of those branches were growing on the wall, and it's angry now. It's not quite that snarky, but it's a little nicer about it. So we're going to go to the trunk. I'm going to double click that just to dock it again. And we are going to get our vines back. We're going to tell it that we don't want it to listen to the wall anymore, so it can be in our scene just happy. And this is for the cluster pile, so we are going to be turning these all off. I'm going to keep playing around for now, just because we might need it. Make sure we are still alive. The stream seems to be going fine. Alright, second thing I'm going to do just for visual, just to make it easier, is I'm going to go to window properties and just turn off the panorama because it's a little distracting for our texture creation. We're going to go to just a solid color for this because why not? And we only need one of our branches now. I'm going to be making a cluster material with 5 leaves, and then I'm going to anchor so that some of my leaves can pop up. So I'm going to be making a cluster with 2 leaves. Now, I'm not going to set these all in the same atlas, which I could do. I could, go through and try to make one that would work for multiple ones, but I'm going to do this as efficiently texture-wise as I can. So we don't need all these guys in here, so we're going to go to trunk. We're going to go to our generator properties. And we're going to change the integral style. We're going to just say that we just need 1 count, and we're going to decrease the frequency so we just have 1. And I really could have just squished down the last to have it straight on there, but it works. I'm going to hide that guy. That was a planar that was left in there. And for our tree here, I'm going to hit save again real fast, and we are just going to put the start angle of this guy so that it lays flat along the ground now. So we'll do like that, and we need to rotate it so it's facing Y up. So we are going to go to window viewport and put this in the XY plane. Oh, and I was just turned around, so it's actually the direction that we want. All right, and in window properties here, you can always see the texture area that's going to get sent out here. You can go to it's global properties. Windows properties. I forgot where it was. That happens. And click the screenshot safe frame, which I can't find right now, but I think it's because of pressure. All right. And I got a couple questions here. We don't have the exact date down for the V9. I think Danny's gonna answer a lot of these guys. I know you guys are anticipating it, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it, because it's really cool. Just not how we had them on the wall at all. So these guys, pretty easy. I'm just gonna put sky influence on them. And I'm going to take out some of the turns. I'm just gonna kind of wipe out our settings here so we can show you how to reset these guys up. We did lots of shaping, and someone else is made, and you can't figure out why it's doing something. It's good to go check your curves and go ahead and max these out as well. Just so we don't have anything weird throwing us while we set this up. Now, the cool thing is I had a little bit of gravity on that, so it's going underneath the floor. And what I want, selection killed me there for a second. I want to actually turn off the gravity. And I had a little curl on the end, so that should wipe it out. So now we're all above there. We are going to do a blank vine first that has no leaves whatsoever on it. And so we're going to go, save for a second. We're going to turn these guys off. And this is unnaturally very weird. So we're going to make this a little shorter to start off with. I think there's a select bug in there every now and again that I keep hitting. I think the guys have already fixed it, but I might be a build or two behind. All right, so these guys right now are doing some wonkiness, and then last week at the very end we added these little stem details to make it look nice and real. We're just gonna make sure the forces are off that, and then just kind of make the these guys bend a little bit more naturally than they are right now. I'm gonna add the planer back on so that they are pulled out, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of noise and so many new spine properties, so noise is actually kind of farther down now. We're gonna add some late noise in there, and something is holding it so where it's not really allowing a whole lot of noise going on there, but we'll just kind of make this a lot less. I need to turn the turbulence up in order to see that. I don't quite remember what I have in there that's holding them so straight. We are going to make this a lot shorter because we really just don't need all of that on there. All right, and these little short branches are going to come off of our main. I'm going to go ahead and open this up so you can see it. And a question from Michael, but you can definitely email us at support@speedtree.com if you're interested in beta testing. And all right, here we are. Okay, so what we're gonna do for this is we're making the texture that will replace the C to C. So we're gonna make it a little bigger and put the radius up just a little bit. And then there's too many of these guys. The select bug has got me again. We're gonna just make these a little spaced out, maybe like only 1, 2, or 3 or so. And that's okay. Something that I might do just to make it a little easier here is we're just gonna reshape these guys fresh. There we go. And then, let's go ahead and reshape these guys too. We're there. We're gonna add some branches. And we're gonna make sure that they're attached to the trunk, not just floating out there. I'm gonna put the shell like way up because I can't see it. It's still there. And I kind of want that blend. And then this guy, before I even add anything else to there, I'm gonna just go ahead and freehand bend it a little bit to give it a little bit more of a branch shape. Sorry, I tabbed over and go to freehand mode now, and it locks out your other generator controls, so you can't do any of the generation or node edits when you're in this mode. We've been using this for the past couple of weeks. And I am grabbing this guy and sliding it up and down, and you can also extend this guy by holding the space bar, like if you need to make it shorter. Don't need a whole lot here, it's gotta stay pretty simple. I'm gonna go back to generator mode, and then the branch I added is over here. We just need a few more of them. We're gonna go back to interval. I'm gonna say I want 2 now, so that they'll come out on either side. And I'm going to increase the frequency. And I'm going to make them a little shorter. I'm going to spine length, and I'm doing percent of the parent. And I think that we had our leaves as batch leaves before in the VFX version. You can right click and convert these. I'm not sure if that bug with the converting them is out, so I'm going to just go ahead and add them back on. We're going to go ahead and go add and do leaf mesh. I'm in the games modeler today, so all of your templates in here in the ad are going to be for games. So these are low poly, and the leaf is going to be the leaf mesh one. Now we're going to go to orientation, sky influence, and push them forward. We're going to put our material on them now. We had all of our materials set up for season in the last build that we did, so we're just going to add 4. And yellow, winter. Oh, I think I left out fall. There are a lot of leaves. And there was leaf 2, which we had in there. That's gonna be front 2. Why I did it this way, I'm not sure, but you live and learn. I should have set up. There we go. All right, so I've got them all on there now. There's only one showing up, and what I really want is a cluster of 5 to start off with. So we're going to absolute 5. I'm gonna end up turning these, so I could set this up a couple of different ways, but since we got some more people jumping on, that's good to see. Yay. You guys look terrible right now, so we're just gonna hide them. And I think that some little twig details would really help sell this. So we're gonna go ahead and add on some more branches, and you can have as many polygons as you want in this because you're basically just you're gonna export a texture for it. So gonna just do phyllotaxy for these guys. These guys don't have a lot of noise on them, so I didn't get many branches out of them. I might see if I can get a little bit more movement in there, add some late moist. There we go. Make them look a little creepy crawly. I feel like they need to be, I'm gonna add some variance in here, a little bit more than they have my branch, and see if I can put those. Oh, I was on the wrong one, sorry. That gens out. There's just a few too many of those guys. And it'd be really cool if these guys look like the tendrils, and so I'm gonna add curl back in there. I think I had added it last week, but I don't know that I did. So they're gonna add that guy in there, and then we don't want them to all curl the same direction, so we're just gonna go to the branch 2, hit forces, and at the top there, here's our curl, and we really just don't want that amount. We want to put it in the variance instead. And so I'm gonna do something like that. And I really want the curl just on the tip. So I'm gonna turn it down on the main part of the branch and kind of boost it a little bit. Let's see how that does. That's not terrible? I don't know. I still think I have a little too few mini. I'm just gonna knock out a couple instead of, if I can fix that right now. All right, so we're just gonna knock out a few of these. I'm in Gen at the bottom. It's kind of hard to recognize these when they're not, it's just like a screen stay saying. You can hide it just like anything else. I pressed the H key just now to get rid of that. And all right, this looks pretty good for start one. And I think that this guy, we might have an opacity map already in there. Let's just see if this guy helps us out. I kind of blend that one out. I think that the shell needs to be a little bigger. Kind of scale it out a little bit more. Red-green thing that's going on in there. And I'm going to grab the shell and I'm going to go to the UV mapping. And I'm going to kind of adjust where it is starting. I think there is an offset on it. Yeah, I'm going to turn the offset off on that. And I'm going to turn the offset off for the... We don't want any of that. That's special fancy things for stacking UV tiling. And I'm going to see if I can get this exactly where I want it. Maybe reversed. Let's see if it is reversed. Yes, it was. I don't know how we did that, but... There it was. It was backwards, and then I was having some trouble figuring out which way it went. So now I got it kind of blended. I don't know if I like it. That happens sometimes. It's okay. It'll help a little bit, I think, from far away. All right, we're gonna go ahead and send this texture out. And I'm giving myself room to cut it out. You might want to pay attention just after you've made this, look at it in the normal mode, just so that you can make sure you didn't have this like turned or something. And see right there, I see a flaw there where I didn't really cap this off, and I kind of want to fix that before I send it out. So should help that out. And we are going to hit O to compute the AO, and we're going to go export material. I'm just going to do these at 2K 2048. I've got all the maps loaded in that I want to send out normally, which are pretty much basically everything we use in here. If you have other maps in, that's where you would add these. You can add an image in there. And I've got the texture streaked behind my material. And I'm going to go OK. I'm going to save this in the texture file. It was in the wrong spot. I'm saving this into my cluster folder. And this is going to be my bear. And now we can kind of go back to our main tree and see what it looks like. It's good to see all you guys joining in. Yeah. All right, and so now that we have our texture, we're gonna go back to our tree and we're gonna go ahead and start scrapping this guy so we can kind of build it out. The first thing I wanna do is I am going to, I'm just gonna hide these for now. I can go ahead and detach them because we are gonna use leaf meshes instead, and we can't have any of these goodness tiny branches at all, so I'm just gonna go ahead and delete those as well. And I really could use them to hold the flower still, but we have anchors for that, so I don't think I need those, so kill. We don't really need these little guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these two. We now have a giant wall. The first thing I also would do is I would grab this and I would load in the last LOD. We've got a really, really small one. And if I want it to LOD, I'm probably going to use LOD 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to grab that one and say, okay. It's going to say, do you want to find the rest of them? Yes, I do. And right off the bat, let's see how big that is. Oh, the wall takes up 5,000 of our model. So we need the vine itself to take about 10 to 15. We're going to grab these. The lumps are cool. They're very polyheady. They've got 86,000 in there already. Let's just hide them for now. We might be able to add 1 or 2 in there and make them really, really lower. And we're going to grab the main branch. And if you remember from last week, we are very, very high on segment counts because we were growing on something. They have to have enough segments to crawl over this guy, and the accuracy with points in order to look up what it's scrolling on. So we're probably going to have a lot of those in there still, but we're going to put optimization on and see how we do. And it's really not that noticeable. Once we get all our leaves on there, these straight parts are really going to hide everything. So this might be, depending on how low resolution you need to go for your game, you might drop this a crazy amount and keep it there. Our second set of branches, these little guys here, are going to be what hold the fronds for us. We're going to add the texture we just made. And we're going to go to the cluster file and grab that guy. I always fall out of the circle. I want to lean one way or the other. Alright, I got this guy in here. It's there. And we really want this to fall along the wall a little bit. So we're going to give it some points down the branch that we've made. Just so it doesn't get too contorted. And this one's kind of the one that's holding everything else. And so it does need to have some shape in there. We'll scrap some polygons if it's too big. I kind of start larger a lot of times and then go back and take some out. So a lot of times when I'm doing a game tree, I might edit the actual cluster cutout every so often. And one thing that we want on this cluster file is we want to be able to curl and fold it. So there's 2 different motions we're doing here, and we're setting up our places that it can fold and curl. So it needs to be able to this and do that. And so you don't want to just put these anywhere. You want to make sure that you've got them on either side so you can kind of see how it's going to go. And okay, that is a lot. I'm going to put one more there just so that we can get the tip in there, but we'll see how bad that is and go from there. And I actually have all this blank space up here. You guys know that it has to read that blank space just as much as it has to do the actual texture. So having these as close in as you possibly can will save you money. And we're all for that. So we'll just put this one as our low. We're gonna go ahead and go for high. And we'll probably end up taking some more of those out later, but for now, we're going to go to our material, and we are going to grab the Bayer cluster, and this one's going to be on 2-sided, and then on our material stuff, I could drag and drop this if I wanted, but I'm going to go to material and select the Bayer cluster file, and there we are. And all of my fronds are facing up right now, so we're going to rotate these guys. We're going to grab the geometry and we're going to use roll. Right now we want the entire thing to roll, so we're going to max out this curve, the profile curve, and we are going to roll these around in the direction we want them to show up. So basically, there we go. And they're kind of interacting with the wall, but the material is going to cut in and out of the wall because they are not. And now that we've done that and they're kind of set up, I'm going to go on the little spine only. I'm in the skin tab and I'm in spine only, and that way they don't count polygon wise. And these guys just seem maybe a little wonky frond generator. There's a start and a last, so that's what that gap is right there. We're gonna grab the frond and we're gonna put the boundary and make sure it's at 0, and that will push it back in there. These might need to be just a little thicker. My material up here, I got the spine underneath got long, and then make them a little bit less long up towards the top. So I'm saying according to the trunk, which is this guy here, at the top, I'm going to make them a little shorter, and that's going to make my material sitting on there a little less thick as well. See, that would work. All right, let's see what we look like. It's nice and gnarly looking. It's kind of fun, and I'm at 13K, so I'm doing pretty good. I probably can optimize it a little bit more. I have a lot of branches on there, and I might not need quite that many. The second thing we're going to do is go back to our leaves. I'm going back to the cluster file. Turn on the leaves, and there they are in their terrible glory. And so we're going to do just 2 textures for this. We're going to set these guys up kind of how they were. And I really just have so much going on here. These guys are too big and I can't see what's going on. So I'm going to make them a little smaller so I can see. I'm going to go to Skin tab and then go to Size and just make them smaller. Here we go. And so I don't have that nice rotation going on, and they're not coming out the same spot. Added them straight on here. And what I really want is just a couple of them coming out, just like we had the wall. So I think for this, I'm going to, just for ease of setting it up, I'm going to add a little tiny branch. And this little tiny branch is going to be what holds my leaves only on the end. I'm going to use gravity on that. Make sure I'm in the right direction real fast. Perspective. I went up or down? I went down. Okay, so we went to grab the gravity one and push them up. There we go. And these are going to hold our leaves just like they did on the wall. We kind of made that little piece going on there. And wow, you guys have been talking and I haven't paid any attention in the last 5 seconds or go. Thank you for the positive reinforcement. We like doing the stream. It's really fun. The break last week was real fun too. All right, we're gonna put our leaves back on the end of the branches that we just made, and we're gonna push these guys all the way to the top. So I'm gonna grab the leaf and I'm gonna go gin, and I'm gonna use the first and last to push this up to the tip of the branch. We're gonna go up like that, and you can see that because I have absolute 5 on there, my leaves are kind of in the right spot now. I went all the way up. I went past 1, which is technically illegal, but we made it. We're gonna back to XY plane, and I hope I remembered to save my bare branch, but I think I probably forgot that part because we're live, but that's okay. We will just do a quick save. This is going to be cluster 1. There we go. And they're pretty much where I want them now. I just want less, I'm going to attach less than I did with the entire branch in there. So we are going to zoom in even more and just do maybe like 4 of these guys. And I'm going to make this a little skinnier because we want it to blend a little bit. And now is where you're going to just start manually moving these guys exactly where you want them. So one of the things that we can do in the leaf mesh mode and not the batch leaf mode is you can select these individually in node mode and move them where you want. Or you can do the art director tool and pushing the A button. And now I can click these guys, and it's kind of wonky because the handles are turned, but it works. And we can rotate and bend these guys wherever we want them to be. I'm gonna do the placement of these, and then I'm gonna procedurally make the rest of the adjustments on there. When you bend these guys forward and backwards, you're changing how the light hits. So every time you do this, you want to make sure that you are relatively plain You don't want to go too far back or anything. If I were to do something like this, I now have a back face normal showing, and I don't want that in my export. I want the right side. You'll remember we put all these leaves on sky facing, and this is just the fastest, easiest way that I find to make sure everything's pointing the right direction normal wise for exporting these textures. So in node mode, just kind of don't want those in the corner there. And we're glad that you like spine only, and I don't know why I crashed, but I did, so we'll go back up. We are in beta. Give me just a second, I'll get us back up and rolling. I have to resize this so that you guys can see everything the right way. A different size monitor makes everything so much more annoying. There we go. All right, we're back. I'm sorry about that. And I think I saved it before I got that. This was my save file. It's gonna try its best to save you out when I think I kind of hit save before. Letting it recover a second. I'm just gonna close that guy now. All right, we had made this guy. We were getting rid of the ones on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do on these guys, I'm just gonna kind of get rid of the ones on the bottom by pushing them up to the first. And I kind of like, that will work, I think. All right, we're back on track. Sorry about that. And we're gonna go ahead and hit save real fast. That's gonna be our location that we send it out in. And I am going to turn these guys around a little bit. We got a little bit backtracked, but that's okay. And pull that out just so that they all show a little bit, and make one tiny just for the heck of it. And so we're gonna go to gen mode, and I'm gonna make my bar over here a little bigger because it's nice to be able to see things. I need to figure out how to zoom my buttons. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but just so you can see. And we are gonna make that smaller just like we did in the last one. There we go. All right, so we're gonna change the sizing up a little bit. I really just feel that putting the clearly with it today. I also like to have my gen mode kind of up at the top, if my personal preference. All right, click the leaves that you want to change size for. And then we're gonna make these a little bigger and put some variants in there. And guys, I don't really want a lot of like different size leaves. I want them to be kind of bigger and smaller. That way, I'm gonna put them, I'm gonna just use the skin curve and say at the end of the branch, which is this branch, I wanna go to, all right. I think for the one that I'm gonna send out, I'm okay with the splotchy look. We'll just make a very fall version of this. Alright, I think I'm gonna send it out like this. I think that the end of this is gonna be a little too chunky to blend in with the vine. And so I am going to make this guy, sorry, grab the trunk again, grab the radius. I'm gonna change the profile curve. I'm gonna put a point here and just kind of squeeze that guy in. It's so far up that I'm not seeing anything different there, so that the end's kind of a little easier to blend. And I think that will work. The only thing that I kind of liked with the other model we made is that they went down the branch to chain. So I think I'm gonna go to node mode and just kind of swing this guy over and make it a little shorter. And we'll see what that looks like in there. I gotta cut through here and I'm gonna fix that guy. In this case, I kind of like it because it helps the vines look a little bit more 3D. And now we want to go to, I've got that clicking selection thing keeps getting me. And I don't have any more. It's so quiet on the chat. I feel like we should ask people's favorite trees or something fun. Also, I'm getting this already. We're gonna do a Halloween one next week. I might dress up for it. We'll find out. Alright, the next thing we're gonna do is get our lighting light right. And so we're going to go to the normal mode for this. Material, normal. And I've got these guys on there. And what I really want is one big reflection off of these lights rather than the little details on this thing. Just from far back, I want a large speckly look. And so I'm going to use Puffy. I'm going to grab these guys and these controls down here are for leaf clusters. And these controls down up here are really for your VFX, like when you have individual leaves. So these are things that help us switch up the light and here kind of make a fake look that we've got. I'm going to add a little bit of puffiness to all of these guys. I want them to look as 3D as possible, and I'm going to change the direction up for these so that they're kind of bouncing off of each other a little bit. And that way when the light falls across it, they won't be all one big sheen. They're going to have different facets in there. Same thing with back face normals. You don't want these values to go over 5 because then you're flipped around. Alright. Fairly decent. I think that we can change up the leaf shape just a little bit more and then we're ready to sit it out. And the reason I'm going to do that is because this leaf are just a little too similar. We're going to do that by doing the wiggle them up a little bit. I might have to have the noise up kind of high. And one thing for this is you can actually add more polygons to the mesh really fast. It would help us. I have so many leaves to go through that I won't do it on all of them just for the sake of time, but hit save really fast. We are going to go to the cutout and we're going to use the tessellation just really fast and save it in the top one because we don't really need the LOD in here. And you'll see on the leaf that I've changed. I'll go ahead and do a couple. Now, the one that I've changed it on, you see how there's just so much. We can see what we're getting out of these guys. And we're gonna just put a little bit of fold variation in there to see if that helps out. We have a cutout that goes all the way down to the middle. I'm feeling okay with it. We're gonna go to the normal mode and just see what we think. And let's just see what it looks like on our tree. Sometimes I guess, sometimes we're going to export material. I bet y'all enjoyed that noise. Same as before in different colors there, but oh, I guess, I got some, I missed that. That's really cool. And we might have lost some work this time. That's annoying. And we put optimization on here. And we really didn't need any of these guys, so kill those. And this one was spine only. And we had our material loaded in import our cluster file. And we had our material we're gonna load in, the one that we just sent out. And I hate repeating, but we're gonna go ahead and make a cutout for this guy. These we got it down pretty low that I think it's safe to have about 8 on these guys. I kind of sent the cluster out not quite as centered as I probably could have. Okay, let's see how we're doing on low. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn the angle of this guy is and kind of line it up with that main branch there. And I really kind of feel like I need an extra point in there so this can fold and curl and all that. And we're gonna go ahead and add one over here. We're gonna use the mask really fast to get rid of that extra line. And let's see how we did with that. And we're gonna go ahead and remake the bear one, which is a bummer, but it happens. If I wasn't live streaming, I probably would have more mind to keep hitting save along the way, but there we go. Yes, we do have an autosave. If you have multiple files open, which I don't recommend, I have multiple files open because I'm streaming and I'm like switching back and forth, and I do that often kind of with the texture clusters. It's going to autosave the first one in your tabs. And so I had 4 tabs open, and the tree was in the second one, so my autosave did not save me that time. And don't be me, learn from my mistakes. So I messed up on live stream, just remember it. Alright, we made kind of a low poly one. I'm gonna go ahead and add some. We had rather a lot on the last one that we made. Alright, we should be good to go. And we're going to put that back on there. We had it on the little branches as a fronds. Just remembering what we did. And we had turned that guy. Put the material bear on. And we had it start. And then we had it on roll. We need to go max that out. And we're going to roll those around so that they're facing the right way. And we're going to hit save this time. I go back to the bear cutout. And I'm going to zoom in real big on this so that you can see. I didn't mean to add that point there. We're going to add anchors where our branch is going down. And I'm okay with the spindly things, and I'm okay with adding a lot of these in there. And this little anchor guy here is the direction your cluster is going to be facing. And since we want this to flow up the wall, we're going to kind of follow the branch that it's sitting on. Gonna maybe turn that one kind of up and put one on the end there and fill this out. I have no idea what this is going to look like, so we're just going to find out if this is a good placement or if we need to like start from scratch. Now, on the big tree, I have my big leaves going to small, and so down these branches here at the bottom, I'm going to have a couple more anchors, and these are going to probably get smaller as they go down. That might be too many, we'll find out. We'll just kind of keep going back and forth. I use knockout a lot. Let me go ahead and save them out there. I'm going to put that one back in. I think it's going to be easier to pop that one with the anchors back in. So there we go. Should be back in good shape. So we're going to grab that frond and we're going to add a leaf mesh. So we're going to go to settings and we're going to make it two-sided. We worked a lot with the backs last week, and back is going to... This is a pile of hot garbage right now. We're going to start working on this. So we have way too many clusters to start with. I'm just going to make these to size and still don't have quite what I want there. I'm going to orient these first so I can see what we're looking at. I'm going to put sky facing on there first, and then we're going to tilt them down. I think we went over this a little bit in the last few weeks too, but SpeedTree kind of sets you up to orient things in order. And so whenever you're doing your leaves and you, maybe if you were a newbie, you came in here and you wiggled all these things all out and start working your way down. All right, so we just have way too many leaves and we're gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna use knockout to get rid of them a little bit. See how we're doing here, and then I'm gonna curve this down by using curl. I went to orientation. It's also under skin. Okay, we're getting there. We have way too many polygons in there right now. We need to go ahead and knock some things out. In this file, I'm pretty sure I didn't change, yep, gotta change the LOD back. I'm putting the lower one in like I did before. Actually, just remember which wall this was, but it's this one. Make sure I grab the right one. There we go. We're back in business. All right, and so these guys are what's causing a lot of the polygons still, is we just have too many branches on this. It's too much of a mess. So I'm gonna go back to here and I'm gonna go to gen mode and I'm gonna take them out. I'm gonna put more space in between them with internode leak. I'm gonna increase this number and see where we're at. Down the strength of the wall. I'm gonna make sure that we don't have any. Since the fronds are sitting on the spine underneath them, the noisier is gonna help that out. Okay, we're a little jumbled, but we're getting there. We are now at 100. These might not be 100% necessary. We have lumps. Lumps are going to be where all of our polygons are. I'm going to make some weird normal shadows. So I'm just going to knock out a lot of them. I'm going to give it at least a couple, 2 outer rings. Seems so way spaced out. I'm going to see if I need to keep that one. Now we're at a better range for a game. But I still want to add one more leaf cluster on here. I still got this plain thing going. Also, I think, yep, my back is not on. There we go. Two-sided was off, and so I wasn't getting the backs. And so we're gonna take these guys and maybe fold them down a little bit, even more, and use the vertex noise to make them look a little bit more separated. A couple of leaves. I'm gonna just do like 3 leaves or 2 leaves. So we're gonna focus a little bit closer in. I'm gonna go ahead and save as. You can cut out of the same cluster as well. So if I had, let's do that route instead, to save texture space. Why not? And I had some questions, but Danny did such a good job of typing that out. So I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna use the same material instead of making, and we are just gonna say, I don't know, let's see if these works here. I'm gonna do a mask around these 2 leaves and then just say, try to give me like 6, and within the mask is gonna try to put them in place. And so it didn't do as good of a job as I would like, but that's okay. We can just move these now a little faster than we had before. I'm gonna make the pivot point up here on this dot here, and I'm gonna turn it. And see how we do. Alright, I'm gonna do this so they can fold in the middle, and I think I just need to lay off on the polygons now. I want these to have some nice curl. We'll see how we do. I've got that little sliver that I need to take care of. There we go, I can max that out now. So that should be good. if I want this to LOD, I'm really just gonna take out this point here and this point for the lowest, so we really don't need all that detail in there. And let's see what that looks like. We are gonna add onto the top there. We just added that second cutout, and so we have to tell it that we only want that first cutout to be our one for this leaf. So we're gonna go to material, and instead of mesh any there, I'm gonna just put it on primary, and we are gonna add a second leaf mesh. And these guys are going to be the anchor. Still the same material name. And then we're going to select that mesh we just made. Oh, it's because on this cutout, I didn't add an anchor. We need one anchor. So on the first cutout, we have to have a place for it to attach. And so on these guys, I'm going to just add it on the tip, because that's where it's going to be most noticeable, and it's really going to be part of this little collection guy, basically. Maybe I'll skip that one and just put it on here. And this layered look is going to help it look correct. I think I'm just going to take out wrong X there, and then I'm going to take out the mask. And all right, we had a question about the different versions, and I can take you through that in just a second. I'm gonna get out of this mode real fast. I'm in the games version, so the tools in here are set up so that you can set out just have a big logo there. There's a high res, medium res, low res, and a draft mode in cinema. And we have things in here specifically for games, like the rest of that. So, and he can tell you a little bit more about the wind differences there. And your export options are going to be different as well. All right, we just set our anchor, so we should have some leaves showing up now. I've got about 3,000 of them added in there. And let's go ahead and zoom in on our jumble. And the anchors are coming off of the main part, so I'm going to go ahead and make them sky facing for a second, just like I did the other part. We're going to make them go down the wall a little bit, and I'm going to try to make them out. And then I'm going to curl these out and down to these guys in the variance settings so that they're all kind of pulling up or out. And because I have 2 leaves there, it's going to give the effect that they're doing different things. And they're also just a little bit too big. I make them a little bit bigger. And I'm over 4 o'clock, but I'm gonna keep going because we're good. We'll just keep doing a longer session there. And so these guys are just part of the main now, but they're helping it look 3D. And we're in pretty good shape. I would continue doing this guy and putting seasons on it, but I wanted to show you one last thing for this stream. And it's, what if I don't have a 3D mesh? It's what if I want to grow on the SpeedTree. And I'm gonna hit save really fast. I got a nice 24K. And off the bat, I would probably do a lot of tweaking to the LODs because these are gonna get too big. And so I actually would not want my shrink on there as well to get that ready. So we're gonna start doing something new and adventurous, and I'm gonna show you this neat thing. I'm gonna put this on ambient light for a second. Okay, we're gonna destroy our model. We are going to delete the mesh. And everybody is going to be yelling at us again, and you click on this and it says, hey Dumbo, it's gone because it's all looking at the geometry force. And so we did that earlier. We're going to turn the wall off on that guy, and they're back. And back. Cool. Okay. I brought in the textures for this earlier. I brought in another Crixel texture. I got a beam. And I brought in a post, and we're gonna hide those lumps, hide the main tree truck. And we're going to add a photogrammetry mesh to the scene. It's in the main column as well. And we only want one of them. Make sure it's set to the post. And we're gonna go material and then select that guy, which is the post. And it is ginormous, so we're gonna click on it and go to mesh, and we're gonna scale it down to interact with any of the mesh or anything that's growing directly off the tree. And we just wanna move this to the base so I can see it. It actually doesn't matter. You could have done it down there too. And I was gonna hit save and I double clicked it. We'll back up. I think we are open on the wrong one. There we go. This one should have been saved with our textures. We'll find out. I was literally just about to hit save, so that sorry about that, guys. Alright, while it's opening, sorry for the silence. And there we go. Alright, we're back. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna add the mesh to the scene. We're gonna hide all this. And, oops, the shell. There we go. I'm gonna turn our pano back to ambient. Okay, put the mesh back at the scene. And we're gonna say material, post. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. We're gonna make that mesh just a little smaller. And we are going to grab this guy and move it up. I pushed the W key. I'm just going to slide it up and put it on the origin. It doesn't have to be there. That's just where I want it. And we're going to steal this post so that we can make a ladder. And it's going to be a SpeedTree geometry ladder. And we're going to steal the shape off your tool. We're going to grab it, add it to the scene, attach it to the mesh off the gen window. We're going to hold down, I've got the bottom here, and I click it, and then hold T down, and then place it near the bottom. I'm going to zoom out and grab the top, click it, hold T down, and push it on the top. And now I'm going to slide the bottom up just a little bit, because it needs a little bit more. You can go along the mesh here. If you push the QT, it'll change the screen spatial orientation so it follows it exactly. It's just super easy to set up. We're going to make this, we're in node mode right now, so nothing's showing up in the properties. We're going to switch to generator mode. And this is the texture that we're going to send out. And you can see that these don't line up super great up here at the top, which is my blend area down here. So we're going to make that a little bigger. We're going to say blend range, increase it. And I'm going to change my blend to default 2. And I get a pretty good blend out of that. That's going to work great here. I'm okay with this ladder color. When you're all ready to go, if this was a windy thing, you can add more points in here, but this one's pretty easy. I'm gonna say, I want a big texture. I'm gonna convert it to a trunk, and it's just gonna take out the texture and bring in the texture for me and have everything ready to go. Oh, we're gonna do converted beam and hit save. Yes. And there is our brand new one. We don't need the mesh in there anymore, so we're going to hide it and the converter. And this is our new SpeedTree stolen texture. And the cool thing about this is I can now take it and make it really long, and it's going to keep the shape of the original one. So I can basically stack these together and make whatever I want, and I can bend it as well. You can go in here and do like that if you want. Except I don't know why you would want that. Right, we'll put it back. So we're gonna vector generator mode, and it's cool. It kept my square shape, which is awesome because I can also take, I don't know if you realize that, but that mesh was, I guess I closed it down. I'm gonna Windows, going. All right, this one was almost 9K, and the SpeedTree one now, I can just kind of kill the polygons without having to do a whole lot. I'm gonna hide the mesh again. Yep, I turned it back on. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go to segments, and I'm just gonna put optimization on that. And if you're keeping these straight, there's really no reason to keep a lot of these polygons. It doesn't recognize the displacement, so it's taking out all of them. So I'm gonna, instead of doing the optimization, just kind of lower it. And we basically have these, I can say standard, and I'm gonna turn my vine back on. And we're going to, this is gonna be our one with the ladder. This is just a great way to reuse stuff as you're going. Like with game assets, you're gonna be building with the same textures, but instead of having to load stuff back in, you can just keep everything in the same file or start a new file and you've got it loaded in, and this plant can interact with multiple objects, and then you would send it out to the game. I turned the mesh back on. You don't have to keep this in the scene, you could just delete it if you wanted to. Alright. We've got our new guy here, and we've got our branches here. Their force has to turn it off. And now we are going to be going up our new creation here. And so really, I'm going to make a ladder really fast. We're going to just do gen, and I'm going to put this on interval. And you can't see him right now because the first and last boundary has been put to 0. I can cap this. If I have a good texture, you can rip a texture off of the same column. For the sake of time, I'm just going to cap it really fast. And we are going to just add another set of interval, basically. Excuse me. There we go. And they look really funky as branches because they don't have the shape in there. We're gonna make sure the displacement is all nice and good. Because it's a ladder, I don't think I'm gonna weld it. I think I'm gonna just see what that looks like. I think it's just gonna look better if it looks like it's attached. And then I don't want any noise on this. I just want them to be basic tubes. So I'm gonna go to spine, noise, and make sure that that is turned off. And actually exit it out. And speed flat out, and so we are going to change the start angle to 0.5, and there's a little bit of variation in there which I like. This is going to be a really old weird ladder, and I'm just going to turn these around using the gen here. We're going to rotate these guys to face each other, and sometimes it's kind of hard to see where they're faced. These guys should rotate, I think. Just a little bit. They're just play around with them a little bit and see how we do. I might need to let my computer catch up. It is running. Alright, I think there's a little too much variation on there, so I'm gonna go ahead and black it out for now. And we are going to make the radius of this guy nice and even. So I'm just going to max that curve out on the branch there. And then we're going to make these guys match the spine length. I don't really want percent apparent. I'm just building something basic. And so I'm going to just use an absolute amount and make sure that they match. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my rings in here in gen mode. I didn't realize I was on absolute. I should have been on interval, and I thought I was. And I'm just gonna put 1 in here, and that's why I was so good. There's a curve in there, that's why they were tilted. There we go, 0.5 should do that. And then I'm gonna increase. I actually don't need that many, I just want to spread them out so that they hit different places. It's wonky, but it's doable. I'm gonna play around with that and make sure it looks like a good ladder instead of... It looks like a very primitive person made this ladder, and I'm cool with it. They aren't quite... Sometimes, just about seeing it. Okay, now that we have our wonky ladder, I'm gonna hit save one more time. Alright, this is brand new for SpeedTree 9. And this ladder is ginormous. I didn't even realize that until the guy's back there. This is a ladder for giants, and we're gonna just go with it. Alright, my vines are here, and I want them to crawl on the SpeedTree geometry. And SpeedTree 8, this was called a collection. And in SpeedTree 9, we just made it 100 times easier and faster to set up. You're going to grab your ladder, not the mesh converter. You're gonna right click it, so I don't get confused now. And now, this is gonna behave exactly like the wall did. I'm going to click my branches here and say forces and turn on the ladder. And now they are going to go in here. I have the ladder that has a, sorry, I clicked the generator itself. So if I want to get to the ladder's property, mesh forces and collections and all kinds of stuff down here. We just wanted to make it a little simpler. And then grab the ladder, and we're gonna say that it's attracted, and we want it to obstruct our vine. And this is kind of set up how we liked it for the wall. So it's gonna have some different settings. We're gonna push the vine a little closer to the ladder by grabbing the gen and then just pushing the last up. And then let's give it a second to catch up. Let's make a couple more in there. Alright, you'll see right away that that's not really quite the behavior we want. Why don't we add some start angle differences in here? Just so the vines are doing a little thing. And then we're going to go to forces. And the geometry forks calling for these, I want these to all to be in a different angle. And the follow... We don't want to be up above 1. I'm going to make sure that they start a little sooner so they can grow up a little faster. And I'm going to change the angle on these guys so that they're all going which ways around it. I'm going to see if I can get it to wrap a little better. Yeah. If you guys want this wood texture, this is a Quixel Mega Scan. I forgot if I said that or not, but... It's awesome. There's just so many tools in there. Once you can rip things out and start reusing them and kind of interacting the two natural with our trees in here, it's just such a great mish mix for us. All right, and we're gonna make sure these guys show up and turn it off the wall. They were kind of gone. And all of our polygons left for some reason. I guess I didn't have any segments in. It might be the optimization. No, there it was. I had optimization on, and I guess they weren't some of the shaping. Yeah, I didn't have any noise in here. And make them a little bit more natural looking. Alright, we have a mess growing off this ladder now. This is obviously too many leaves. One of the fun things that you can do instead of trying to fight and like make it look pretty right now is that we could use the collision. And put it on high quality and just see what we get. Alright, so I've got these little leaves coming out, and what I want to do is set this one to leaf collision, and I am just going to say that I don't want to knock these out. Let's see if knock others out. Oh, I don't want these to be part of the collision because they're basically just my bare branches. I definitely want to make sure that those are off collision, and I would say nothing, and that'll help us out a lot. And so if I go back to this big leaf here, I might be able to get a little bit more going there. It's just taking all my anchors. So I'm going to put it on everything and then take the distance with the left. So I still got any branches in here. So this kind of shows me a little bit of where I need to take away. I really need to get rid of some of these guys in here. I'm gonna go to the little branches and I'm gonna change up the generation style. A good practice is when you are kind of balancing out too many and too few, go back to the generation style first instead of going to spine prune. These are very, very handy. It'll help you a lot for shaping. I'm going to put more space in between them. And now I got more hanging out there. And so now I feel like I can get these to collide a little better without all those extra ones in there. Out as best as I can. They're a little too, there's too many repeats going on in there, and it's because they're all facing the same direction. I really want to take these guys and go to orientation and add some variance in like right, excuse me, and out, and see if we can get something there. I'm going to add a little bit of twist on this guy as well. We didn't have that on there before. And the sizing is also a little bit stale, so we're going to make these smaller as they go up the tree. And I grab that parent curve and say according to the trunk. I'm going to get them a little smaller towards the top and make them itty bitty at the top. Alright, it's not lovely, it's not perfect, but it does a good job of demonstrating what I wanted about making objects and growing on them. And I think we're going to wrap it up for today. And I can't wait to show you. We're going to do a really arty, fun tree next week. Pretty much just getting in the spirit of Halloween. We're going to just do like a fun art build. And thank you for joining. Also, if you guys want... making sure that the volume wasn't going. We are still doing the Treetober October, and so next week we will be showing off any artwork that anyone sends us to like Facebook or Twitter or however you want to get in touch with us. If you are doing, you don't have to do all of these obviously because that's way crazy. That's a lot of time. Artists to get in there and make random things to SpeedTree. And we haven't had too many takers yet, so if you want to like jump in now and just pick one, we would love to see it. And I made an octopus, so anything's game. We will see you next week though.